Okay, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. This is our next webinar CPD talk on introducing Oracle Aconex, a common data environment, which is CDE, to enable remote work in project and construction management. So we have the honor and privilege to have Varna Marik, Director Industry Strategy from Johannesburg, South Africa. And also we have the honor and privilege to have Patrick Kimwaki, Senior Sales Consultant from Nairobi, Kenya. So I'm just gonna do a quick housekeeping. So the agenda will be obviously quick housekeeping. There'll be introduction by myself. I'll try to wrap that as quickly as possible. We'll have a quick survey, and then we'll have Varna to present part one. We'll have a quick survey, 10 minutes discussion as we go along, and before we get Patrick to do part two presentation, and then again, a quick survey discussion. So there'll be lots of discussion, presentation, and then a panel discussion at the end. So housekeeping, most of you know how to use the webinar, I believe now, and so I'm not going to dwell too much, but if you're on a PC, top of your screen have the view options, the audio screen, which is on the left-hand side of the screen on the laptop. Please raise your hand if there's anything to validate something. Please put lots of questions on the Q&A. So if you have any question, if you want to leave the webinar, of course, not because you're bored of it, but because of any personal issues, then you can just leave the webinar on the right-hand side of the screen. And then obviously the poll survey, there'll be a few poll survey. We'll start with few poll survey as well in between the presentation, engage with you as well. Okay, so big thank you to Oracle, and again, thank you to Linda, Patrick, Varna, and Deb. Deb is with the audience right now, but Deb has been the mastermind of the project today. So thank you as well. I will be issuing a certificate attendance. Please email me after this talk, please. Just send it to anil@cpdtalk.com to get a certificate attendance. So please quickly email me after the, not during the presentation, of course, but after the presentation. So who I am then, I think most of you know me. So love construction, love learning, love sharing, love people. 18 years in construction now. I'm passionate about giving back. So I'm honored, privileged, thrilled to have Oracle in collaboration with me today. So thank you very much indeed. So we want to start quickly, just to get some interest. Which country are you watching us from today? So I'm going to share screen with you. Go to menti.com, MENTI.com over here. And I'm going to share the screen with you right now. And just make sure that you see that. So just bear with us. And I'm going to share my screen with you regarding mentor.com. So if you can just please, if you can see my screen, if you can just please put in wherever you're from. And there's Canada. And if you can just, even the panelists can try as well. So you just make sure, just to have a gauge of interest of where you're from. So menti.com, 948546. Already we've got a few colleagues coming in, and even in Mauritius, I know 80% of you are from Mauritius. Put the the district where you're from, or the the town. But already we've got Morocco, Canada, France, Uganda, Angola. So yeah, fantastic, everybody. So please put your comment in, and at least we know where you're from for the speakers to benchmark themselves in terms of the geographical services and collaboration with all of you. So again, please try to use it, something you can use as well as part of your presentation going forward. So it'd be good to see. We've got people from France, Kenya, Canada, Morocco, Oman, Angola, United Kingdom, Conakry, Guinea. This is from Bristol, UK. There's lots of people from, lots of colleagues from Mauritius as well, Cambodia. So thank you. And I'll give you about 30 seconds again. Try to use it. It's really interesting as we gauge more. So we've got probably people from different continents today as well, a colleague from Nigeria. And yeah, so thank you for being here, everybody. It's huge, it's amazing to have all of you collaborating now. So I'm just gonna stop, move on to the next one before we can see everybody now logging in. So thank you. And I'm just going to stop sharing on that one now. So just bear with us, and I'll go back to my slide. Okay, so thank you very much indeed for being here. And we just gonna move on to the next slide quickly. So I want to just share this with you. Again, if you can see my slide, raise your hands up, please, just to make sure we validate your concern. Yeah, so I want to just share this quote with you from Oracle. Owners and delivery team trust Oracle Aconex for feasibility, control, reduced risk, and connected team, drive efficiency in design and construction coordination, project control and cost management, document management, and field management. Get fast time to value with construction management software that is easy to use. Next up, there's another quote from Nisha Ketani from Multiplex, one of the largest contractors in the world. She goes on to say that using the review process workflows and the online viewer have removed work duplication due to easy collaboration between all parties. And then this is another one which I know colleagues in construction right now, due to COVID-19, we are looking at social distancing. And this is the blog from Executive Director of Innovation at Oracle. And Bursin goes on to say that several weeks ago, the landscape shifted dramatically for our and many construction projects as owners and contractors work to come to grip with the impact of growing COVID-19 health crisis. Since then, our project team have explored new processes and practices intended to safeguard the health of workers and general public, while also keeping the project moving forward with as little disruption as possible. In confronting that challenge, we recognize that we had a unique advantage in the innovation lab itself. The facility based outside Chicago hosts several technologies whose unique capabilities could be brought to bear on the new sets of problems the pandemic present. So I want to show a video before we formally introduce Varna. Yeah, so just bear with us as we go with this video. And again, if you can see the video, please put your hands up as well. Off we go.
We are in an era of rapid digital innovation. Technological advances are coming together to reshape every aspect of project delivery. And Oracle is focused on helping organizations navigate the accelerating transformation of how and where we work. The work site of tomorrow isn't confined to a place, it's everywhere. Distance has become irrelevant as 5G connected devices instantaneously access site data, like physical data and depth sensing cameras. BIM data is experienced in virtual reality, augmented reality, and holograms. Autonomous vehicles carry workers to and from job sites, allowing them to work uninterrupted while en route. Work sites themselves are safer and more efficient than ever before. Wearable sensors deliver security and safety by verifying worker identities and training. In the event of an accident, these same sensors alert first responders with the worker's vitals and exact location. Connected and autonomous construction equipment operate alongside crews, performing repetitive and high-risk tasks, while tools capture project data. Powered exoskeletons enhance a worker's performance while eliminating injuries. Productivity skyrockets. Sensors continuously collect and benchmark performance data. AI and machine learning algorithms assess risk, schedule tasks, coordinate activities, adjust plans in real time, and report progress to stakeholders. In the everywhere worksite, meetings are virtual. Workers and stakeholders use visualization tools to ensure everyone is aligned. Technology streamlines entire industries, delivering rapid advances in productivity and quality. New materials are developed using nanotechnology. Embedded sensors enable real-time tracking and monitoring of environmental conditions, reducing cost and risk. Companies offer their customers a selection of digital models that can be prefabricated or 3D printed. A digital twin of the physical asset collects and analyzes data throughout its life cycle. All these connections across the project lifecycle optimize processes and unlock data-driven insights to drive continuous improvement. This future is already taking shape as the digital and physical worlds increasingly blend. Now that you've glimpsed what's to come, it's time to visit your tomorrow today.
Okay, so thank you for watching this awesome video. So we want to do a quick survey before we bring our speakers in. So I'm going to start with the first survey, which we wanted to ask everybody and also to get everybody engaged. So I'm going to start survey now. Just bear with us, and off we go. So the first question is, I think it's very important as well, as some of us have come out from COVID-19 and still wearing the mask. What would you choose, work from home, office, or both? This was a question from Lindo, which he's keen to know. So you've got about 30 seconds, and already 50% of you have voted. What would you choose, work from home, office, or both? So this is a tricky one, right? So I think we've get to know us a lot better now during COVID, so it'd be good to know your views on that. So 75% of you have voted. What will you choose, work from home, office, or both? Again, it will give the speakers a good indication as we start the presentation. So 80% of you have voted. So I'm just going to end polling now and share the result with everybody now. So as you can see, everybody, 17% say work from home. Wow. Okay. And 14% says office, and 70% love to work both. Wow. So again, if the speakers can make a note of that, and this is really awesome because obviously construction site is home and office as well. So fantastic on that. And if I'm going to just stop sharing and we move on to the next one. So thank you very much indeed, everybody, for that. So 70% of you would like to work from office and home, which work perfect for Oracle, because this is what Oracle is about, is bringing that flexibility. So I want to bring our next speaker, and it's Varna Maritz, Director Industry Strategy from Johannesburg, South Africa. Varna Maritz is a member of the Industry Strategy team at Oracle Construction and Engineering Global Business Unit, which is a specific focus on public sector infrastructure development program. As a certified cost professional, he has the passion for the digital transformation of the project and construction management discipline, with a keen interest in the role BIM plays in the field to improve profitability, but also manage project risk and reduce construction costs. So please join me, honor and privilege to have Varna Maritz with us today. And please put your hands up for your little hand emoji for Varna Maritz. So I'm done, just gonna obviously over to Varna, and I'm gonna stop share for Varna to take over. So Varna, all yours. If you can just try to put your screen, I'll be here as well so you can see me. If you can share your screen, and yeah, and then we'll take from there. So again,
thanks, Anil.
Yeah, it's coming up right now, and if you can go for full slides as well, Varna. Awesome.
Is that fine, Anil? Can you see it?
We can see your screen perfect, and we can see everybody. So perfect. And again, Varna, thank you, honor and privilege to have you. Take it away. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Anil. I think today we chose to specifically talk about Oracle Aconex and the role that application plays within the remote work of project construction management. Of course, Oracle also provides other applications like Oracle Textura and Primavera within the construction industry, but today we're going to focus on Oracle Aconex. So thanks for the introduction, Anil. As I said, I live in Johannesburg, and my co-host Patrick lives in Kenya, and Patrick will join the conversation a little bit later on. I just want you to take a couple of seconds to read the safe harbor statement. It's part of Oracle's corporate governance. So remote workers in the architecture, engineering, and construction industry. So just our poll now indicated 69% of everybody on the call would like to have a mix in terms of work from home, work from the office, or work from the construction site, seeing that it's part of the construction industry. But really to enable workers to be effective in working from home, certain things need to be in place. And that is very strongly dependent on the digital architecture or digital infrastructure for the home worker or remote worker to actually work. So what's important, a couple of points, there has to be absolutely real-time collaboration on the cloud platform. There's no use if you sit at the remote location and process, for example, contract management transactions on a construction project, but the person that you sent the information to will only receive it a day later or 2 days later. That will cut down on productivity tremendously. So important for everybody to work together at the same time in a cloud-based platform with automated workflows to move information along and to make sure that all the governance processes and governance related to construction management workflows are actually intact. And there's also very important for the digital design interaction. So you have to get the design team to actively participate within the project. You cannot separate design from project delivery. That's quite easy. So it's important that that interaction from a design team to project management to construction management team is actually enabled with the digital infrastructure. Of course, very important for people not physically at the work site. It's important to have visibility of the work status. If I submitted a workflow to somebody to, for example, process a change order, I must be able to see in real time what is the status of that piece of work. Has that person already actioned it? Has it been passed on to the next level? And then absolutely important is security. Security of data, security of access, security of personal information. We cannot overemphasize security on a system like this at all. But of course, not all construction work can be done remotely. There are certain things on the construction site that has to be done physically on the construction site. But of course, there are many other functions and responsibilities that can quite easily be fulfilled from a remote basis. And remote is not just remote work at home, but remote is also remote work in the design office, in a home office, physically removed from the construction site. And at this time of physical social distancing that's required, the more people we can physically remove off the construction site, the better for us. And hence that remote work is quite important. So what can we target for remote work? We can target design team collaboration, design reviews. We can target collaboration with site supervision. So if we've got the site supervisor and the person in the office, how can they work together? We can prioritize document management and information management. We can do a lot of contract administration remotely. Think about contractual correspondence. All of that can be done remotely. And in line with this, when we look at global spending priorities from CIOs, it's quite interesting to see recent studies showing that CIOs from big businesses will be spending money on three things. If you look on the left of that graph, the three most important expenditure categories for IT is internal communication and collaboration tools. So that is, help your internal team to work together. The second one is spending money on mobile security. And this highlights the requirement and the level of importance from a secure system. And the third level where they will be spending money in the next couple of months is really about interaction and communication with the customer. How to get the internal team and the customer team to work together efficiently. So these three things make up the bulk of spending priorities from CIOs to enable their business to cope with remote work priorities. So it's definitely an important aspect. But now, I think of the 100 and something people attending this webcast, many are actually part of the architecture, engineering, and construction industry. And you will know that there are some challenges. And one of the big challenges is that the whole project delivery environment is a very fragmented supply chain. Now, there are design authorities, consultants, lead appointed parties, main contractors, the owner, and they all work in their little silos. And they all work on different contracts. There's not a single type of construction contract that's used throughout the world. There are design bid build contracts, design build contracts, construction manager at risk, integrated project delivery team. There's no one model fits all sites. That makes communication a challenge. And these communication and information management challenges is what we need to be able to address with collaboration technology like an Oracle Aconex. Now, one of the important things when you start looking at enabling teams to work together and collaboration is around good practice information and document management. So the implementation of information management standards, like ISO 19650, for example, information security, make sure that people can't hack your information from a project perspective and keep it at ransom. Information must be timely, must be accurate, it must be dependable, and it must be accessible to all stakeholders. So you can't roll out the collaboration platform and then just say, okay, only 5 people can have access to it. All the role players, all the stakeholders from all the organizations must have equal access to information. And of course, it's also important to use interoperable information exchange standards, something like an industry Ifc data exchange in terms of design models. You must be able to have a standard way of communicating that information. And of course, from an information management point of view, the ability to do extensive coding and classification of information is a critical success factor in terms of being able to analyze that information and leverage all the data points associated with the project. And of course, at the end of the project, you must be able to effectively turn over that information to the operations and maintenance team. You must be able to do proper archiving, whether it's physical or online archiving is quite an important aspect. So many things to consider around good information management practices. As far as the design interaction is concerned, when we think about BIM, building information modeling, and how that is changing the nature of how we deliver projects, it's quite important to be able to use a common data environment to do 3D BIM model coordination or federation. Because on any big project, the normal practice is to deliver through a lot of specialty contractors or third-party design companies. But at some point in time, those discipline-specific designs need to be able to be brought together into the federated 3D model. So everybody bring those models together to have one version of the truth. And this is where the industry foundation class or IFC models become very important in terms of interaction, or even if your common data environment has the ability to do native integration with design authoring tools. Like Patrick will show you, Oracle Aconex have got a native integration, for example, with Revit, to be able to share information directly. And of course, no project is complete unless you can actually effectively manage project cost and contracts. You must be able to apply those different contract forms consistently. And when you put a collaboration platform in place for people to work on different sites, you must make sure that, number one, that platform supports the contract collaboration. It must also be. And Patrick will show some very interesting statistics later around how many pieces of contractual correspondence get processed on a big project. The days of being able to use email or a Dropbox or a file folder or manual hard copy communication for contract management is long gone. There are just too much information to deal with. The third important one that you must enable to collaborate effectively is a transparent project change management process. Now, normally the top 3 problems with projects is change management, change management, change management. So being able to effectively implement that collaboration platform focused on contractual change management, integrated with the design, integrated with the document management, integrated with the cost management is very important for success. And of course, timely payments to subcontractors. Our industry's got a big problem with paying subcontractors and suppliers on time. And sometimes it is because people don't want to pay the subcontractors in time, but sometimes it's just because systems and processes do not support the payment of subcontractors in a given time. So for us to overcome that big challenge within the industry, it's important to make sure that the contract management through to the actual payment of the suppliers can be done in this platform that is used for remote work. Of course, such a platform must really enable information handover and document handover. So if you look at information management models, there's basically three big parts. The first one is the organizational information model. The second one, the project information model. And the third one, the asset information model. So as the project owner organization makes a decision about a specific project, a whole lot of information is built up as part of that development process. That information must be handed over to the project team, to the project information model, where it supports both the design development phase and the construction development model. And it's important to have that model visible and accessible to all the stakeholders to deliver high quality value for money assets. After the project phase, handing over to the operations and maintenance team that asset information model. Part of that is handing over a digital twin, as-built baseline, all the documentation, drawings and specification that's relevant to operating and maintaining that asset. So this collaboration platform that enables remote work must also be able to enable information handover. And of course, the construction technology industry is growing rapidly. No single vendor can deal with all the different types of technology that's out there to enable the construction site, to enable better construction management. So if you put in place a common data environment that must enable remote work as well as normal construction management work, it has to be an open platform, open architecture platform. You must be able to link all your other construction technologies into that environment. If I think about things like on the slide, drones for progress measurement, RFIDs for tracking materials and people, Internet of Things for sensors in the field, augmented reality or virtual reality to interpret designs better, blockchain or smart materials, that common data environment that everybody needs to work from needs to be able to accommodate integration to all these different construction technologies. And that platform is an Oracle Aconex. And the Oracle Aconex have brought tremendous benefits to some of our customers. And what you see now is just a sample of some of the big benefits customers have seen. And if we look at these four categories of savings, reduction in rework. We all know from a construction site perspective, a lot of money and time goes waste because there's a lot of rework. But now if you have a common data environment, everybody collaborates and we can actually track the design and delivery. There's big benefits in terms of reduction in rework. The second one is the ability to find documents and drawings faster. I've seen in the past when I was still working in construction sites, filing cabinets with hard copy documents. And if you ask the document controller, what about this document? Can you find me that document? You had to come back a couple of hours later to find that document. But with a common data environment, that's a central repository for all project participants, finding documents and drawings becomes much quicker and much easier and save a lot of time. Also from communication, RFIs, requests for information and submittals on the project. For example, San Francisco Airport project team, that is 75% less time spent tracking RFIs. That's a significant saving in terms of man hours. And then of course, clash detection. Although Oracle Aconex does not do clash detection, it actually integrates with tools like Navisworks or Solibri to be able to resolve the clashes identified, to manage the issues amongst the entire team. And if you look at even the Port of Sudan power projects, 60% faster resolution in terms of clashes. That is a fantastic return on investment in terms of time spent And of course, because this is a cloud platform, people can work from remote locations in resolving those clashes.
Yeah.
Now, the benefits of Oracle Aconex as a common data environment: single version of the truth for all decisions. How often does your project management team ask for information to make a decision on? Often it's a mad scramble to go into lots of Excel spreadsheets and lots of documents and lots of different systems to get information together to support a specific decision. But with a common data environment like Oracle Aconex, all that information is in one place, single version of the truth, and because it operates in real time, it supports decisions much, much quicker. Also, what Patrick will explain is the deployment of Aconex, common data environment. It's designed to be deployed across organizational boundaries. Now, many back office systems like ERP, like a SAP environment or something like that, is not designed for multiple organizations to access. The ERP system is normally a back office transaction control system guarded by the finance people. But Aconex is a common data environment for project delivery. It's designed to be used by every person, every organization involved in the project delivery. And of course, the benefit stable is the vast amount of technology that big company like Oracle brings in terms of cloud infrastructure, blockchain, analytics, big data analytics, machine learning, all those type of things. So leveraging the technology that's available commercially today to the benefit industry. And of course, Aconex have got open APIs that really helps organizations to integrate these systems into other environments. Now, there are some characteristics of the Oracle Aconex system, which is fantastic for the customers. It's exclusively built on a software as a service cloud platform. Means there's no installation on local machines. All that you need is an internet browser to access the solution. So a rapid deployment. It's got excellent security. So Oracle is known as a company that really gives a lot of attention to security within systems, and Aconex is part of that same model. It's got a characteristic called neutrality, and this is related to the security of information within the team. And Patrick is going to expand a little bit on neutrality in his presentation. The fourth one is Aconex have got something called guaranteed delivery and the no delete framework. So if I work remotely and I send a workflow or a document or a communication to another party, I can know for sure that that party will receive that information. Further on, the deployment model is based on unlimited users and unlimited data storage. So we want everybody to work on the same system, and we want everything to go into that common data environment. And of course, it works on object-based data models, and you get your federated data model out at the end of the day. So there is one use case I want to just quickly run through. We run in Chicago the Oracle Construction and Engineering Innovation Lab. And this is a place where we test software and we test equipment, integrate these. We work with a whole bunch of partners there to make sure that we can bring reliable construction technology to the site. So in terms of keeping with the remote work, it's important for people to understand what is physical progress on site. So one use case is bringing reality capture information like 3D videos, laser scans, photos from the site captured by something like a robot or a drone or a camera into the common data environment, and share information from the common data environment into tools like a Reconstruct to be able to do that comparison between what should have been completed and what is completed. But still, Oracle Aconex and Oracle Primavera forms part of the common data environment for this use case. So I don't want to take much more time. I want my colleague Patrick Mwaki to take you into the software and actually show you some of the great functionality that's available in the tool today. Patrick, can I hand over to you?
Okay, so Werner, just quick one before if you can just put your video quickly in. We've got a few questions for you. So it'd be great to have you back. I know the network was not great, but we can hear you properly. So we've got a question for you, Werner. So I don't know if you want to leave that to Patrick, but the first question seems quite relevant. And the first question is from Mustafa. Do you need a professional certification to handle Aconex system?
So Aconex is designed to be very, very easy to use. It's a web-based system, and it's got configurable forms and workflows to make sure that it looks like requirements of your specific contract or your specific organization. What is great about Oracle Aconex is that all the user training is available on the internet. So it's all web-based training, and it's got different stages of training and training paths that can be followed. So it's quite easy if somebody implements Aconex and want to invite subcontractors to work in there, to tell them, go and do module 1, 2, 3 on the internet. Once you complete it, come back, I'll give you access to the system. It is really easy to use, and the training material is really clear as an online training platform that's available to everybody. Even as we sit here, it's available to everybody.
Okay, Linda, do you want to, thank you, Werner. Linda, do you want to touch on that? Obviously, do we need, we can't hear you, Linda, if you can just put your sound on. So do we need a professional certification to handle Aconex system? Just quickly on that.
Yes, so anybody can, it's in the cloud, the training is for free. So you can go on to aconex.help, and there, help.aconex, and you can go onto the website, and it's got a nice program of different, whether you're an intermediate, whether you've actually seen it before, or whether you want to be a professional. All of those courses are for free. You can do them at your own pace. And when you're ready and you want to add something else to your CV, you can write the certification. It's not expensive. Once you've passed that, you're a certified Aconex user. Okay,
thank you. We've got a question from Laurent. Laurent, a colleague, being champion and I chartered US. So Laurent is saying Aconex is a great tool and widely implemented around the world. Within Africa region, and in particular in Mauritius, how would you propose to deploy Aconex on a specific project, and what size of project? So maybe I'll start with Linda, and then I'll move on to Werner. So Linda, what's your, I know you're quite used with colleague in Mauritius, so what's your view on that one?
Yes, so of course, when you run, Patrick's probably going to show a couple of slides there, so I don't want to say too much, but it's about the amount of information and documents that's been transferred. I can sell it to someone who's building a house of 8 million rand and wants to predictably manage every aspect of everything that is done. So you can do it if you want to. But ideally, it's how the more organizations, the more transactions, the more people you've got on this. It's a collaboration tool. So typically in public transport, infrastructure projects, when you're building a dam, when you're building bridges, when you're building railway systems, airports, any big construction, the more transactions you have, the more value you have from it.
Okay, Werner, if you want to add on that, what's your views on that?
Yeah, I think part of the great thing about Aconex is it's modularized, so you implement the modules you need, but it's also web-based, so you don't need specific data centers or computer installations to run it. You just really need an internet access. And as we sit here today, there are customers in Mauritius who are successfully already deployed Aconex and running it, and I was surprised that Linda didn't give a sneak answer about that one.
So just to confirm, Werner and Linda, you have Aconex already in Mauritius, right?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Wow, awesome. So thank you very much indeed. Obviously, We'll send all your details when we send the email. Patrick, just quickly on that. Aconex on, I mean, you will talk about it, so just a few words before we move on to the next question.
Yeah, so the one thing that you'll find with Aconex is that it's very easy to use. So anyone who can do internet banking, who can use email, will be able to use the platform.
Okay, thank you. We move on to the next question. Is the site team able to capture day-to-day activities within Oracle, which prompt the client engineer to sign off, including total RFI and things like that? So maybe with Linda first, and then we'll move on to the other colleagues. So Linda.
Yeah, my short answer is yes. I think if Patrick gets enough time, he's actually going to show you that.
Okay, so that's fine. We just answer that. Grateful if you can give further detail on how there are faster class detection and resolution. Patrick will touch on that one. And okay, so is it Bianca from South Africa? Is it similar to Synergy?
I'm not familiar with Synergy.
Neither am I.
No.
Sorry, can't answer
Bianca,
that
I've
question.
never heard of it. Unfortunately, could be a competitor, but never heard of it. Thanks, Bianca. Also, Kaziku saying, may you please send a link for Aconex? Yeah, we'll get you the link later. And Rahim is saying, how many firms do you have in Mauritius using Aconex at the moment, Lindo?
I've only got one. I've signed up. We've signed up one last year, but I've taken the region for the last 8 months. So it's uncharted territory. I'm looking after Mozambique, Angola, and Mauritius. I've been seen as the salesperson to go where no one's gone before.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Varna, there's a question for you. Hello, how are the remote areas where there's no internet coverage? Can they still use the system offline if they need to go back in and out?
So what Patrick will show is the mobile interface as well. On the mobile interface, you can download information to your tablet, for example, go to site, interact with that information, whether it's a drawing, a model, something like that, a document. When you're back in the office, you can synchronize again.
Okay.
There's also the opportunity to do what we call a local copy. So you can run a local copy on a construction site, for example, with very poor connection, and in the background synchronize the information to the cloud server.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. I want to just do a quick survey before we introduce Patrick. So I'm going to share the survey now, and be good to set the scenes once again. So in which industry sector do you mainly work? So infrastructure, energy utilities, residential and commercial building, oil and gas, industrial manufacturing, or other. So it'd be good to know really for all the, for Vanna, Lindo, and Patrick to really get some sort of indication today of where you are. So 40% of you have already voted, and the question is, in which industry sector do you mainly work? That is infrastructure, utilities and energy, residential and commercial building, oil and gas, industrial manufacturing, and other. So 65% of you have voted. So we're just gonna end polling now. So I'll give you a few seconds before we get to 1 minute. So already 70% of you have voted, and I'm just gonna end polling now and then share the result with everybody. So as you can see, guys, 26% work in infrastructure, 3% utilities and energies. A whopping 50% of the participant today is on residential and commercial, and then 1% oil and gas, 1% industrial manufacturing, and 70% is other. So awesome. And I want to just do one more survey before I take your opinion on that one. Again, if you can please vote, please. Does your organization currently use cloud-based software? So it could be any software, including Oracle. Does your organization currently use cloud-based software? It'd be great to have you as well again on that one. So already 40% of you have voted. And does your organization currently use cloud-based software. It could be Oracle and any other software. And I'm just going to end polling now. 65% of you have voted. And yeah, so I'm just going to share the result now. And off we go. So already Linda, Vanna, and Patrick, 40% are using cloud, 44% are using cloud-based, 14% planning to move to the cloud in the next 12 months. So already Oracle is here for you guys. And no, prefer on-premise application. So 41% of you still want to use on-site application, which again, Patrick will convince you. So let me introduce Patrick formally. And Vanna and Linda, if you can switch off your video, please, as I introduce Patrick formally. So just bear with us, and then I'm just going to share my screen to introduce Patrick. So here we go. And if you can see my slide, please, if you can just put the hands up as well, and we can just get some indication of what's going on. Thank you very much. So thank you, Vanna, for the amazing presentation again. This was awesome. And I want to show a video, really, and it's called the Innovation Lab. And before we get to Patrick, I wanted to get this video over to you, just making sure we have the sound and things ready. And yeah, so just bear with us and off we go. So this is a really an innovative video for Oracle Innovation Lab. Before we get the formal introduction of Patrick, off we go.
The vision was to have as many partners and as many customers come together to learn. And really, we're here to learn.
All the biggest construction companies are actively looking for new technologies that can help them run their business better. And Oracle is the first one to bring those technologies together to showcase them in a real life environment.
Innovation labs that allow you to interact and touch and feel and use the technology have always been more profound and more useful.
Today at the lab, we have experiences that show technologies on sensors, drones, autonomous vehicles, remote control, construction equipment, connected tools, material tracking solutions, worker alerts, and visualization tools for augmented reality and virtual reality.
By Oracle hand selecting certain technologies that all do different things really well and trying to bring them all together shows that you could potentially interact with all these technologies within one platform.
A facility like this allows us to collaborate directly one-to-one, one-to-many, and help solve that industry problem around productivity so we can build more efficiently and effectively.
We can come, put our operations aside, and just roll up our sleeves and try something new in a safe environment here that Oracle is providing.
We are a very reactive industry. And in order to get to a proactive state, we have to move from manually capturing information to automating that data capture to get to a predictive state.
It's really the convergence of this digital world with this physical world, and it comes together. And there's really no better place than construction to actually see that happen.
We're here to get as much feedback as we can for our customers and understand how their connected ecosystem fits together in terms of the technology.
Customers and partners had a significant impact to the development of the site. We shared them the concept, we got their buy-in and their ideas, and we collaborated with partners and customers to develop it.
This is really just kind of the beginning, and we look forward to the future with Oracle.
Right now is the most exciting time to be in construction technology.
Okay, so I think, again, this is a great video which we will share with you as well. It's on the Oracle website as well. So I want to introduce Patrick from Kenya. So Patrick Kimwaki, Senior Sales Consultant from Nairobi, Kenya. The Aconex demo will be presented by Patrick Kimwaki, who's a Senior Sales Consultant within the CEGBU based out of Nairobi, Kenya. Patrick's come from a strong PPM background, having both managed pre-sales cycle and implemented numerous PPM installation at large strategic customers across sub-Saharan Africa. Patrick will be demonstrating Aconex as a true common data environment which enables project-wide collaboration as well as Oracle BIM solution. So please put your hands up for Patrick from Kenya. Again, the little emoji as well. So thank you very much indeed. So over to Patrick. So I'm just going to stop sharing. Patrick, all yours again. And if you can just share your screen, please, Patrick.
Thank you very much. Let me share my screen. Oh, good.
Yeah, and also just to let everybody know that Lindo has just shared help.aconex.com, which is the link for training and certification. So please use that, and it's gone out to all attendees and participants as well. Thank you very much indeed, Patrick. Take it away, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Anil. Thank you for the introduction. So I've been to Mauritius a few times now, and I love this building. It's a beautifully, and the design work, the architectural work was superbly well done. So for the other participants who are joining us from various countries outside of Mauritius, I would like us to think about a building that you've seen that has been well delivered, that is beautiful to look at. It's a beauty. And let's now go deeper and look at how was this achieved. And very simply, if you were to look at this building as a backdrop in your mind, you'll find that it takes many organizations to deliver this kind of this kind of a project. And what we've seen in our system is that for such a size of a project, we are looking at 348 people collaborating. In terms of documents shared across these companies and this, the various participants, we are looking at 49,000 documents. And also when you look at the number of RFIs and formal correspondence, it could be an RFI, it could be a design change request, it could be a variation order that needs to be approved. We are looking at about 122,000. So, and then again, when you look at the number of companies involved, we are looking at about 24. So this is a huge, huge amount of data that you need to work with. Having, found a baseline for the data, we also know that in most construction sites, companies usually have two systems. One is for correspondence, and one is for the actual data repository. So in this case, a contractor may send an RFI to the owner, and because the file might be 50 or 30 or 60 MB, the contractor will then split that email into several files so that the mail server does not block that drawing. And so what you see here is that the email was split into a couple of emails, and then when the owner receives that, he has to then combine that information and maybe upload it into Dropbox or into OneDrive so that you can have the complete information in a single repository. So if everyone is doing that using Dropbox, using SharePoint, Google Drive, then it becomes a big mess at the end. You lose audit trail, you don't know which version of the document is the most up to date. And this is also what causes disputes in construction. So if we narrow down these challenges, we see in collaboration, we come up with about 5 main challenges. One is, if, for instance, in the early stages of the design, how would you know we've now got 50% design work done? If you then go into your document register trying to see how many documents are for review, for instance, out of the 49,000 documents we see that a project of this size produces, how can you quickly show that we are now we've got now 60% of our documents have been reviewed, 40% have been approved, and let's say 10% have already been shared for construction. So we want to be able to improve our accuracy in reporting. And also, we also need to be able to retrieve those documents accurately, to avoid, litigation and all the problems we know in construction. And also, we also want to solve the issue of multiple contractual correspondence systems, because that creates a risk of errors and rework. So if you use email, for instance, to send a change request, and another organization uses a different system, you could miss out that email, or you may not be able to track it easily. And then when we talk about design issue resolution, all big projects will require model coordination. 3D models is the only way to build such a big system with complex systems. And so we want to also be able to solve the challenges that come with the actual model coordination. And then after delivering such a beautiful building, we need to be able to deliver the as-built documentation, because what happens is in our industry, you build a building, it's completed, but the last 2 weeks or the last month of the project life cycle, a lot of companies are scrambling around to find or to put together the as-built documentation. And if you don't have a good record of that, the owner will not be able to use the document as designed, because the people who build the project are not the same who maintain the project. So you need to have that proper documentation. So what I'll show you is how you can use our system to gather very, quickly run accurate reports. The document status, you'll be able to see them. We'll also look at how do we actually then retrieve these documents. Remember, we are looking at about 40, 50,000 documents. How can we retrieve them quickly? We will also look at contractual correspondence. This is very important because we want to avoid disputes. We want to support a decision that we made, and we'll show you that. We'll also look at design issue resolution. This is key in our industry where we are using model coordination, to manage the various, design issues, even fixing issues during construction. And then we'll also look at, how do we then hand over the documentation to the operations team so that they can maintain the building and operate the building as designed. So that's what I'm going to show you. And now I'll just give you a basic introduction of the system, how it's designed to work. So we already saw that a project of this size, of MCB Bank or any other big project, will have so many participants. So what you see here is the total number of participants. So you could have the architect organization, you could have the client organization, the PM, and the various other organizations. So what happens on the system is each of the organization working in this project will have a private workspace. So this is the private workspace for the architect, for instance. And then inside of the private workspace, you have what we call an inbox. So anything that comes into the organization of the architect will be stored in there. So it could be a transmitter, it could be a change request that has been requested by the contractor. And of course, we have the document register. So you immediately have one system that solves two problems. One is the correspondence, and one is also the same system that is being used for the document register. So let's assume now the architect has finished, he's given, he wants to give an approval to the contractor to start work on site. So he'll send off a formal transmitter or a piece of instruction. And once that is sent across, on his side, on his architect organization, that piece of correspondence will be filed in the sent box, because that piece of correspondence has left the organization. And on the receiving end, in this case, it was the client and the architect, they will receive it on the inbox, because it's an incoming piece of correspondence. Then we know that in construction, a lot of work is also done by the subcontractors. So in this case, let's assume the contractor had a subcontractor who is working on one of the systems, let's say HVAC or MEP. He will then look at this piece of correspondence and say, okay, please go ahead. We have approval from the architect. And in this case, the outgoing correspondence will then be stored into the architect sent box. And on the subby, the subcontractor will receive it on the inbox. So this way, you'll be able to quickly track which correspondence was sent, who received it, when it was sent, and it's quickly filed, correctly filed into the appropriate, data folder. So that's how we handle correspondence. And now let's look at document control, because this is also another big challenge, when you're looking at 49,000 documents. So again, the architect has finished the design work. Let's say he was using Revit. He could be using any other system of his choice. The drawings are completed. He will then upload that document, that drawing, onto the document register of his organization. And then when he's ready to share that, let's say it's a for construction document, to the contractor, he'll then fire off a transmitter. And in this case, the transmitter will be stored into the contractor's inbox. and at the same time, the document register will be stored into his document register. So you eliminate having to inform the contractor that I've sent you a link for the document, so go and download it. It's automatically filed immediately. The same version, the same attributes of the documents will be in his document register. And then we also know again that the contractor will look at this document once he's reviewed it and he's happy for the subcontractor to work on it. He'll then share it across with the subcontractor. And then notice what happens. The contractor's sandbox will also be populated with the outgoing transmitter. And then the subcontractor will receive the incoming transmitter with the associated document, all in one go. So you now solve two actions with one action, the action of sending the transmitter together with the document. We also know that in construction, we need to be able to manage change. So we've started doing the design work with, we are 60 or 80% complete. And then when it's 80% complete and works has started on site, because we want to give some, leeway to be able to, for the contractor to look at maybe what is a suitable material for this, balcony extension, for instance. So you'll find that what happens is a change will then be raised by the contractor saying, hey, we need to, create extra, let's say the material that was in the specs is not available, or the extension has, caused more steel work to be put in place. And so the architect will go and complete the design again into his favorite tool, whether it's Revit, and then share that document again as the revised document. So in this case, revision B of the same document has now been updated by the architect. It has been uploaded into his document register. And what happens is the system is very clever. It knows that this document had already been shared with the client and the contractor. And by a click of a button, we can auto-update these two participants so that they actually work on the most up-to-date document. So in this case, the system will then auto-update the client and the contractor, and now they've got version B of the document. But the one thing that I want now to talk about is what we call neutrality. Since this piece of correspondence was only sent to the client and the contractor, in this case, the subby has no knowledge that the document has updated because he was not part of the initial correspondence. So how the system is designed to work is we want to be able to control the decisions that you take as an organization and also to protect the data. So you may find that the pieces of correspondence between the architect and the contractor are only between those two. And so when the subcontractor is not needed to know what that information is, the subcontractor will not know. And so in this case, assuming that the contractor is happy with the information that has been sent across, he will then update the subcontractor with the correct document. And so now the subcontractor has the most up-to-date document. So what you see then now is everyone has the correct document. There's a proper audit trail. And the people who are not shared or people who are not included in the correspondence will not have any access to this information. And in this case, the consultants organization and the PM have no knowledge of these pieces of correspondence. And this is very important in construction because you want to control the actions that you take as an organization and also to protect your data that you want to be able to share. You only want to be able to share data that is contractually obligated. And similarly, what you see there at the end of the project, you'll also be able to go with this information as it was. So for instance, the subcontractor here will have access of his project data. So that would include data that he input into the system and data that he received from other parties, and he'll be able to archive that data at the end of the project. And this is very good because you'll be able to defend a decision you took. Let's say five years later, there's a big leakage in the building. And then the contractor comes to you and say, hey, what materials did you put in there? Did we give you an approval to do that? Then you'll go back to the system and look at the information that was sent to you by the contractor and have that information to defend a decision you took. So that's how the system is designed to work. And I'm going to go to the system itself, then you can have a look at it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah, we can see the screen, and you are trying to log in.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So let me hide my. Okay, so I'm going to log in as Tim Young. Tim Young is one of my site inspectors on site. So very quickly here, it's a SaaS solution. So it doesn't matter where you're working from. You'll be able to work from both home and at the office, or even on site. We also support multiple languages because, for instance, this webinar has people from across the world. So you want to be able to work with various languages. So we support the various languages you see on the screen there. And so let's log in. Okay, so what you see here is the various projects that I've got access to. So I can move around between them. So I'll be able to have access to the various projects I'm working on. And maybe the best way to look at this is to look at, for instance, we're in the design stage, of the construction work. How can we tell very quickly that we are progressing well in terms of our documents that we need to produce? And so I'll go here to my reports. I'll be able to view the various reports that I've got. And very quickly, I'll be able to show you that I've got now, 171 documents that are already approved.
Yeah.
We can see that there are 52 which are approved subject to comments. We have 140 that are waiting for approval. And we've been able to put through 213 for construction. So these documents can now be used by the main contractor to actually start work. And of course, you want to be able to see that there are a couple of them that are waiting for review.
Yeah.
We could filter this down by various discipline, whether we want to track architectural discipline, and filter that down as well. So you'll be able to see those documents here very quickly. We could also look at RFIs, because RFI is one of the biggest, causes of delays in projects. So you could send an RFI, but it has not been responded to. So if you imagine you're a main contractor, you're the one doing the work on site, every time you send an RFI and it's not responded to, it means work is stopping. So here, I'm able to quickly see how many RFIs are actually overdue. For instance, I can see these are 6 RFIs that are overdue. I can see who sent them and from which to which organization am I waiting a response from very quickly. And when you consider the number of the volume of data, if you're looking at 122,000 pieces of correspondence, you want to be able to filter this very quickly. And so this system allows you to do that. Now, when you have a meeting on Monday morning, you go to your report section and ask them, hey guys, why are we waiting for so long? Why are we so late? And you can even show the mail number as well, which piece of correspondence are we talking about? So this is just a quick glimpse of the reporting capabilities. I'm not going to go into much detail, but now let's go to look at the documents. How do we get those documents that we saw that were actually approved and some were for review? How do we actually work with those? Again, when you're looking at big construction projects, 49,000 documents is the average size. Wow. So my system here shows me a 722. But again, I just want you to see how it would work in a real life situation. So what you'll notice here very quickly is that we don't have a folder structure. A folder structure is very difficult to retrieve information. Putting in information in is not difficult, but retrieving information from a folder structure is very difficult. So what we have here is a tag-based system. So I can come here and look at the various disciplines. So let's say I've got an architectural discipline. So all the documents that are related to architectural, the system brings them down from 700 documents to 208 in a couple of seconds. I could filter this down further and say, I only want to look at PDF. I see I've got DWG files, but let me just look at PDFs. I do remember that this document was a PDF. Remember, this search, you already have it in your mind. You're just applying those search functions now onto the system. When you're looking for a document, you already know maybe it was a PDF. I do remember the discussion we had with the architect. I think it was a PDF. And in a case, we know most of the documents that are now used in construction are either PDF or DWG. So you narrow down now, we are looking at an architectural document, which is also a PDF. So you could then say, okay, fine, but I do remember it was an approved document. It was, I know for sure it was a drawing. So you could apply other filters. And now you've got 23 documents that you've just narrowed down. And now this is where you now need to ask yourself, okay, what was it in relation to? Was it something to do with the reception, the balcony? And the system allows you now to put a title. So in this case, I'm going to say it's a reception document. And you can even put a wildcard there. So very quickly now, we've narrowed down documents from 700 documents to one document in a couple of seconds. This is important, and this is critical when you're looking at a huge number of documents. So the ability for you to hunt down a document and see the various versions that existed. So for instance here, we got a revision 7. Automatically that tells you the other versions that existed. So if we click on here, so the system will now open the most up-to-date document. We see this is a document that is almost 5 years old. It was last revised, in 2015. We can see the history of the document. So the system keeps all the documents that existed before this. And then, Vana talked about our no delete framework. So once a document is uploaded onto a document register, it cannot be deleted. So very quickly, we are able to see this document. We can see the history of it. We can see the various attributes. And we can now transmit this document either as a transmitter, either as as a workflow option. So what I'll do now, I'm going to transmit this as a transmitter.
This is awesome.
Yeah, so this is, and what's more, we don't have a limit on document, size. So I'm just going to show you briefly here. So I can attach other documents, for instance, here. So instead of now having a limit on, the number of documents, you can attach as many as you want. So I'm going to send this to my mechanical subcontractor, for instance. I'm going to say, why am I actually sending this? Because in any case, if you're using a manual system, you normally say, we are sending this for review, for instance. This is issued for review. And then we call this as the specs for ground floor extension, for instance. And then you send them off. So what you see now here is a permanent record of transmission. So Mr. Tim Young of Majestic Builders has just sent this transmitter to Mr. Ahmed Jaffa from Enzis Construction. So it shows you the timestamp. It shows you the reason why it was sent. And we have what we call guaranteed delivery, because this transmission is happening within the system. It's not going out. The documents have been sent. And what you'll see is on Mr. Jaffa's side, these documents will now be already in his document register. He doesn't have to receive the correspondence and then download them. it is automatically stored onto his document register. And maybe let me show you that briefly. So I'm going to log in here as Mr. Jaffa.
Yeah, we can see your screen as a login, no problem.
Okay. So on the task page, you've got now the various transmitters that have come in. So we've got the various unread transmitters that have come in. We could also look at them from the mail here function. So as you can see, this is the same piece of correspondence that we've sent.
Yeah.
If you open the mail here, you can see the document here, for instance. Here, this document here will now be in his document register.
Awesome.
As you can see. And the date that is been modified, in other words, when he received it. But the revision date, as you can see, remains as the previous revision. So this document now is in his register. So it's guaranteed. He cannot say he didn't receive it. And more importantly, what we say about Aconex is it's organizational based. So anyone else working for NZIS will have this piece of access. He will have access to the document register. He will have access to the correspondence, so that it increases internal collaboration. So, for instance, if Mr. Hamed goes on holiday, a 2-week holiday, anyone else within the organization can come in, log in, and see what was the last transmitter we received. And he'll be able to quickly go here and find that we actually received this from Majestic Builders, and it was a transmitter. So that's how we handle pieces of correspondence. Let me go back to my previous user here. So we've talked about mail again. Mail is anything that comes in to your organization that will be stored in your inbox. So anything that is sent goes into your send box, and this is the one we sent to Mr. Ahmed Jaffa. We can have the various pieces of correspondences. So you could have RFIs, and very quickly you're able to filter them down from which organization and to which organization. You could have all manner types of business processes. You could have a consultant advice notice. And again, let's just filter them again into the various statuses. Always remember, we are looking at about 122,000 pieces of correspondence for big projects. And this is big. So if you search for this, let me remove this. So you'll have all these consultants advice notice. You could also filter them with the various filtering options. And you can see that this is a consultant advice notice, and it has something to do with power. So what you see here is the history of this piece of correspondence. We see it came in from an RFI from Excite, one of the subcontractors, and this was the question. The normal things you do on a work site. So he was asking about, what are we going to do with the evacuation panel? Are we going to re-rate the fiber rated cable? And you can see the history of this. And this again cannot be deleted. And more importantly, we can see what did we actually agree. So Mr. Patrick O'Leary is my senior project manager. He agreed to this, and now the instruction has been issued that all builders will now be required to fiber install. And when you consider this is a document that is almost now 6 years old, you're able to keep history of the project decisions, project recommendations, all the VOs, variations orders that were approved, and you can easily go back to the system and get that data from the system. I want to quickly go into model coordination. Again, we don't have a limit, or we don't have a limitation on the type of files we can store here. So we'll also be able to store Ifc files. So these are, the normal Ifc4 files. I can open them up from the system. So we have an integrated IFC viewer, so we are able to view models.
Patrick, just a quick
Yes.
one for the participant. What is IFC?
So IFC is industry foundation classes. So what that means in layman's terms is, if you've got Revit, let's say you are the structural or the architect, and the structural engineer is using let's say Tekla, okay? Remember, at the end of the day, you want to merge these two discipline. You want to merge the architectural discipline with the structural. So if you have different file formats from the different applications, you won't be able to overlay or merge those models. So what happens is, if you have an IFC model or IFC format, the model will then be shared across, and the people using another application other than yours will be able to open it. It's basically like a PDF format, so that a PDF allows people using a Macintosh to share files with people who are using a Windows machine.
And just a quick one, Patrick, CAD file is okay as well, yeah, CAD file, which we commonly use in the industry as well.
Yeah, but then but you have to export it as IFC.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
So it doesn't matter which application you're using, so long as you can export it to IFC.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Yeah. So what he have done here is I've loaded the architect model, so you can load all of them, but let me just load the mechanical model just for you to view how that works. So as soon as you load a different model, again, these models here, the architect model means it's being managed and produced by the architect. The mechanical model means that it's being managed and produced by the mechanical engineer. And more importantly, they could be using different tools. So what happens is, when they finish working on the model, they'll upload it into Aconex, and you'll be pleased to know that for Revit, Solibri, and Navisworks, we've got out-of-the-box integration with them. So they will install a plugin onto the Navisworks, Revit, or Solibri, and once they install the plugin, they'll be able to upload the model onto Aconex directly from their tools. So once that is uploaded, you can see the various objects here. You can navigate, So for instance, here, I've got an object here I'm interested in.
Yeah.
So this information comes from the model itself. So it will have the various attributes. We can see that it's a screw chiller, air cooled.
Awesome.
Yeah, I can see the various, all the various attributes that are done by the architect, for instance. And because it's a common data environment, we are able to link the documents that are related to this object in here, as you can see here. So these documents reside in the document register, and we're able to link them up. We can also link mail. Mail type could be an RFI, could be a change request that has been put through. And because you are using a common platform where you have an integrated document register, an integrated collaboration system, and the model, you're able then to link all these together. So what I'm going to do is just to show you in a very simple way how it would help you especially in your design work.
Yeah.
So here, I could easily come here and measure this.
Wow.
Okay. And more importantly, I need to remember, because and the platform, our commercial model is unlimited users. I'm able to view these models without having a license. As you can see, we are viewing this straight from the browser. We know Revit, those licenses are only for specialists, and also they are not cheap. So we want to open the platform to everyone on the project. So I'm not, if I look at what I'm logged in here, I'm not an architect or a structural engineer, but now I can see the model, and I can come and say, hey, based on our previous experience, if we leave 1.08 meters between these two, we will struggle to maintain these components. So I could come here and then raise an issue. Remember, we are still in the design phase, or we are already in the construction phase, and you are now just raising an issue and saying, hey team, please have a look at this and see whether this is acceptable. You can say this maintenance channel.
Amazing stuff.
Yeah, this is cool. It's too narrow.
So you can able, you're typing the maintenance channel is too narrow.
Yes, I mean, we are saying, I mean, based on our previous experience, remember now, let's say you're a main contractor, you've been doing a lot of this work, you know that this will give us a big problem. Please revisit this allowance, and let us discuss.
Please revisit this allowance and let's just discuss.
Yeah, next week in our meeting.
Awesome, fantastic.
So you save that issue. So that's an issue that has been raised against the model. So once you are now done, let's say we've explored the model, you then come here and look at the issues that have been raised against this model.
Yeah.
So as you can see now, we've now just raised that one issue. Okay. So again, what happens in the real world is you find that when issues are raised, they are captured in an Excel spreadsheet and then emailed across to the various discipline, whether it's an architect, whether it's an structural or mechanical, and then they are trying to resolve and see who is going to be assigned this issue. But now using our platform, you come on your Monday meeting, your being Monday meeting, weekly meeting, you come and look at the issues that have been raised. You can then come here and say, okay, fine, this is going to be assigned to my, for instance, this is my electrical engineer. And then you give them a due date. Okay. You can even set the priority, and then you can also, create issue sets. So what we've just done now, we've assigned this issue now to Abdul, who is going to work on this. Maybe they need to move this piece of component so that to increase the maintenance channel. So those are the things you'll be able to do. And then I know some of our engineers are saying, but what if I'm using Revit and I don't want to change?
Yeah.
The answer is very simple. We've got an integration direct to your Revit and Navisworks. So for instance here, this issue was created in Navisworks directly. So through the plugin, you'll be able to raise an issue directly on Navisworks. And also more importantly, for instance, if this issue is now assigned to you, you'll immediately see it on let's say Revit or Navisworks. So during your coordination meetings, you are now not talking about who is supposed to do what. You're talking about when are we going to finish, because as issues are raised, you just assign them and then everyone goes off and does their work. And then of course, you want to be able to report on those issues. So for instance here, we've got 6 open issues. We've got 2 that have been solved. We can even see the types of issues. We've got a couple of clashes and 2 warnings. And of course, for your reporting, you can see that these are the issues that have been issued against other organizations. So we can see Apex has 2, NZ has 2, and Indy has 1.
Yeah, this is an incredible presentation.
Yeah, so this is how you handle model coordination. And Anil, I don't know how much more time we have, because I wanted to another 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, please do. Everybody's enjoying it. So again, I think we're all enjoying it. And if you're enjoying it, please put your hands up. I'm certainly enjoying it. So yeah, take 10 minutes, mate. We want to know about it more, because I think what you've just shown there, Patrick, is an incredible tool. And I know Varna is actually replying to all the participants. So yeah, please proceed. 10, 15 minutes, that's fine. We've got time.
Okay. So what I'll do is I just want to show our mobile capabilities, because in this era of working remotely, we want to be able to manage work from the work site. So let me share my screen here on my mobile screen.
So we can't see your screen yet, yeah?
Yeah, it's coming up.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, thank you, Vona, for replying to all the participants. Yeah, we can see it now. We can see your mobile coming up, which is the Zoom screen broadcast. Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so I've just logged in as so this is one of the site inspectors working on this project. I can view drawings, and maybe to even address one of the questions that was raised when you're going in remote places. What we allow you to do is, if you now open this drawing and you lose connectivity, you'll have it as a downloaded document onto your profile here. So what teams do then, before they go on offline, they download whatever they need, and then they go offline. Let's say it's in a remote location. But what I'm going to do very quickly is, let's say we are in an inspection. We are inspecting various works, and my inspector sees an issue. So I'm just going to create a new issue here. I'm going to call this as a defect.
Yeah.
So we've
and
got
this is just on your apps. This is just on your phone. You're typing it, right?
Yes. Yes. So I'm just going to take a photo here. I don't like this.
Definitely, you will need painting there, Patrick.
Yeah. So this is my wall here. I'm going to use this as the example. I'm going to say this
part of the snagging when you took over the house.
Yep. So this is the issue that we've seen, and I'm going now to raise it. I'm going to raise it, and then they can do the assignment.
Yeah.
Because my job as an inspector is to raise issues. So the issue has been raised, as you can see here. It's been raised. And then the team in the office will then look at this and assign this very quickly. So if I stop sharing and go back to my screen, okay, let me share. So now the team in the at site have finished, and now they can see this in the office. So they can now do other things like assigning. Who are we going to assign this to? Comments, so
incredible.
Yeah, please fix this. You can even give them a due date, for instance, and then you add this. So you're able to do all these things very quickly, and there will be an audit trail. So, also, what other teams do, like when it's time to look at the snags, you'll be able to come here and say, can we look at all the open items? Okay. We also know that when people complete work, you also want your inspectors to go and look at the ready to inspect options, so that they only concentrate on the items that have been completed. And also, we also know that unfortunately in our industry, there's also a lot of dispute. So you might find that there are a couple of items that have been in dispute. So you're able to also focus on those very quickly. So that's our field application. And now we've finished the application. We have finished the building. The building is looking nice. We want now to hand it over to the client. So what we then do is give you the smart menus. So smart menus means we've collected all the as-built documentation of that building, and now we are giving it over as first of all as part of the contractual requirements, and also for them to be able to use the the building as designed. So assuming this is our nice beautiful building we are doing, we'll give you a nice photo of it. The layout will be there. So as you can see, we've got the various levels of that building. So assuming we went to level 10, we want to go to we think there's an electrical issue, or we want to investigate further. The system will also give you those disciplines. So the system opens the level 10 drawings. We can zoom into it, as you can see.
Yeah.
let's assume we were looking at a DB board. We want to know, what's going on here. The system now, gives you the various, information that you require. First of all, because you do not know exactly what was installed, you make sure by using a photo that we're actually talking about the same thing. So when your guy is going on site, your technician is going on site, he says, yes, this is the actual DB board we are looking at.
Wow, incredible.
We also want to be able to see how was it installed, okay? What were the test results? So again, the system will give you that. Did we terminate all the keyboards? Yeah. And more importantly, we want to be able to show how do we maintain this? Because what is the maintenance manual that we need to follow? So the maintenance manual is there.
And again, Patrick, this is very important for developers, landlords,
yes.
and facilities management, whoever's managing building, right?
Yes. So you're able to do that and have that information in a central place. So we will be able to manage your project right from the design stage to handover and completion. Anil, I think now let's take questions. That's all I had. I could have shown more, but I think we are running out of time.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I think if you're okay, yeah, Patrick, yeah, if you can stop sharing and we get you back onto the main screen. So thank you very much indeed. I think that was an awesome presentation. So can we have a big round of applause for the live demonstration by Patrick from Kenya. So this is incredible, amazing. So I want to just do a quick poll survey before we get back to you and to the team. So just bear with us. And I want to just do a quick survey we've got about 20 minutes to 25 minutes to finish off. So I'm going to launch the survey now. And I'm just going to ask the question to the audience. What percentage of remote work did your organization implement as a result of social distancing? I think it's important to know this for Patrick to gather some information. And yeah, so what percentage of remote work did your organization implement as a result of social distancing? So again, be good to know as we progress onto the presentation. We've got about 20-25 minutes to finish off as we go through. So again, please, what percentage of remote work did your organization implement? 61% of you have voted. So let's have a look at that. And please put your vote in before we look into that. So I'm just going to stop polling and share the result now. And as you can see, Patrick, 32%. So what percentage of remote work did organization as a result? So less than 25%, 32%. Between 25 to 75%, 38%, and more than 75% is 29%. So it's kind of leveraged out into the free section. So we can have a chat about that one. And then let me ask the other question as well. Is again, I want to share that with the audience right now, is have you heard of Oracle Aconex Common Data Environment before this webcast? So be honest, be truthful. We want to know your honest answer about that one. Have you heard of the Oracle Aconex Common Data Environment before this webcast? Personally, I didn't know myself, so there's a vote there for no. And again, please, if you can put a vote in, and I'm sure a lot of us will now be interested into getting that product as we go along. So have you heard of the Oracle Aconex? Again, please put your vote in before we move on to the next question. So 63% of you have voted, 64. I'll give you a few seconds before we take on to see. So some of you can't see the poll as well for some reason. So I do apologize on that one. So let me just end polling now and share the result. So the result is 23% of you saying yes, but a whopping 77% is saying no. So 77% is saying no. They were not aware. So now we are aware of it. And then, right, so I want to, Patrick, if I give you a breather, I want to just try to do some conclusion and get you back on with Linda and Werner in about 5 minutes. So if you can have a breather for now, and I'm just going to share my screen just to conclude before we take the final panelist question. So if you can see my screen again, just please put your hands up. Fantastic, thank you very much. And I just want to show my video, thank you. So we move on to, thank you, Patrick. Thank you very much indeed for this amazing presentation. There are lots of messages. As for the question, Werner is actually replying to those. So we've done the quick survey. I want to show you a quick video just to really conclude what our friend Patrick just mentioned before we come to the panel question. So have a relax and then let's watch that video before we proceed. So just making sure we've got the sound and everything else. Off we go. Here we go. Right, just bear with us, and here we go. Let's go.
We're about to start a new project, and that's going to involve a lot of participating companies, people, documents, 3D models, processes, and decisions. In this demo, we'll show you how to take control by connecting teams with a project-wide solution trusted by the world's largest construction and engineering projects. Because Aconex is in the cloud, all you need is a web browser and your login details to get started. First, let's see how easily our design team can upload and distribute drawings for a design review to participants around the world. With drag and drop workflows, we've got full control of the process. And out-of-the-box reports provide instant insight to where reviews are being held up. Partners receive the transmittal linked to their own private document register on Aconex. But referencing vital information like the document number, type, and any past revisions, so there's one single source of truth. Now, let's say we're procuring a design, contracting, or subcontracting service. In clicks, we're able to send dozens of bid packages and hundreds of big files to the right partners, and instantly see who's opened and responded to our bid, saving us loads of time chasing responses by phone or email. Our team's now in full swing, and the design team uploads their BIM or 3D models. With Aconex, our entire project can participate in BIM workflows, not just the design teams. Let's drill into the model and initiate an RFI with a link directly to the object in our design. On site, a subcontractor pulls up the latest version of a drawing on her tablet to check a design detail. She spots a potential issue, takes a picture, and kicks off a variation request. Instantly, our head contractor receives an alert, can check the design, and approve the variation so the project is not held up. Meanwhile, throughout our project, issues are recorded by our field inspectors and sent out for resolution. On site, subcontractors have instant access to punch lists with all the information they need, so they can make the fix and mark it for re-inspection. It's as easy as that. It's finally time to hand over the asset. With Aconex, every decision and document is collected from the start of our project, making it easy to create a secure digital O&M manual in just clicks. And this means we can quickly find what we want right in the context of our model. Inevitably, disputes happen. But with Aconex's no-delete framework, you've got an audit trail of every document and decision so you can get things sorted out fast. As you've seen, Aconex delivers a project-wide suite of solutions in the cloud to structure decisions and processes across your project. We've connected more construction and engineering teams than any platform to deliver over $1 trillion in project value. Call us today for a personal demo and find out how Aconex can transform the way you deliver projects.
Okay, so we've got about 15 minutes left, so I just want to share this with you before we take the panel questions. This is on the Oracle website. It's the white paper on innovation in construction. And, it's all about the conversation and insight that make up this report, which begin with a simple question. how can we help facilitate an exchange of ideas to help architecture, engineering, and construction, which is AEC, as a common data language, organization to cultivate innovation internally and to take advantage of new technological approaches. The answer was also simple. Let's talk some innovation leaders, capture those conversations, and see whether we can generate even more ideas and engender a broader dialogue and additional activity. And as Bersin says, this report comprises several interviews, which he conducted with an array of innovators in AEC for ongoing Trailblazers series on the Oracle Construction Engineering blog. My hope is the content of this conversation help to spark further discussion and show the way forward for your organization and the industry as a whole. And then he goes on to say, as my friend Darren Bechtel of Bricks and Mortar Ventures once said to me, for an AEC organization to remain relevant, survive, and thrive over the next 10 years, they need to be investing in innovation right now. And much more than just talking about it, they need to be actively seeking out new technologies and learning how to work with a new generation of ever-improving solutions, or they will have a hard time remaining competitive, which we all know that's the reality, right? The second white paper is how to harness big data to drive performance across your project portfolio. Again, you can download that from the Oracle website. And big data is beginning to transform the engineering and construction, which is the ENC industry, as more companies capitalize on its potential to drive project management performance. This playbook covers 4 important topics to help understand and harness the power of big data. And as it goes there, the first one is an overview of the big data in the EEC industry. Second is why you should harness big data. The third one is how to harness big data with construction management software. And finally, the top 5 things to look when choosing construction management software. So again, as Rachel Berger, construction management expert at Gartner, a leading research consultancy, goes on to say, in the construction industry, as in any other sectors, big data refers to the huge quantities of information that has been stored in the past and that continue to be acquired today. So big data can come from people, computers, machine centers, and other data generating device or agent. So we want to just do a quick survey, but before we do that, let's do the panel back. Let's bring the panel to just conclude before we do a final survey on your thoughts. So, but let me get the panelists in. Linda and Patrick, if you can come in. And I want to just do a quick survey before we really engage the audience. So let me just share this with you, okay? And I want to just, so if you can use menti.com, and if the audience, if you can see, go to menti.com on your phone. What type of innovation would you like to see from Oracle? So please, if you can just put in your anything. So type in 948546, and then if you can just put in anything you would like to have, any innovation. So again, please let us know. And as I share that, so some people are actually typing 948586, but anything else you want to see, please put some question in. If you can, any innovation that you'd like to share. So take your time, menti.com, and try to see if you can put anything. Okay, so it seems like if you can try it again, 3 people are actually typing in. So tracking costs is one. What type of innovation would you like to see from Oracle? Tracking costs. Anybody else, please, if you can put in. Live updates. Near field communication, managing risk. Again, if you can just put some more as well as we track in. So already we're getting some for some question from near field already. So again, blockchain technology, risk detection. Again, this is innovation coming from the participant that would like to see from the from Oracle as well. So I'll give you 30 seconds before we conclude on that particular one. So system which is inclusive, incentive to implement, price indices or pricing indices. Okay, so again, if you can just type it in, start it at tender stage. So a few things coming in, 15 of you have already put your comment in, and I'm just gonna, so already we can see risk, cost, facility management, something which is inclusive, talking about blockchain technology, and incentive to implement, and you talk about risk detection. So I'm just gonna stop share and go back to the panelists as we pick up some questions from anything. So it seems that most of the questions have been answered. So I'll start with Varna. You've been really good at that. So there's a question coming in. A lot of people are sending thank you as well. So Varna, final word on, we are 2 hours of CPD talk already. Varna, what's your final thought and what's your message to the participant right now?
Yeah, thanks, Anil. I looked at the request for innovation with a certain level of interest. I think what is quite clear to me is that many of the functionalities that's available in the rest of our applications, like risk management, facility management, blockchain technology, those are actually things that's already available from Oracle. So today we looked at Oracle Aconex specifically as a common data environment, trying to show how we can facilitate remote work on the construction site. But what's important to understand is that from Oracle Construction and Engineering, there's actually quite a wide range of functionalities available, in addition to what we've shown today. Depending on people's interest, they can either mail me, Linda or Patrick. I've supplied my email address already. Or sometime in the future, we can do another webcast and maybe look at risk management, schedule management. I think Patrick did allude to cost management today, but as part of Aconex, there's an extensive cost to contract management capability tightly integrated with the design side. So it actually makes the whole project controls environment quite easy to access alongside the construction and design side. So it is a very good inclusive platform for what we're trying to do in terms of construction management.
Okay, thanks, Varna. Linda, any advice to all the participants listening right now? We've got 170 listening, so quick advice, Linda.
Yeah, first of all, I wanted to say thank you for everybody. I've never attended any event where almost all the people been right to the end. So thank you very much for the number of attendees. What I really liked is we had over 70 questions, which means it's been a really interactive session. We love the questions. We can answer them. I'm probably after this, I can see where most of the questions go to. Again, this platform is unlimited data, unlimited organizations, unlimited people, and unlimited documentations. It's software as a service in the cloud, so there's no hardware or IT cost. You take it for a year, 2 year, 3 year subscription on project value. That's one of the questions that were asked a lot. On what Vanderbilt was just saying, remember, we're only covering construction engineering, which is one global business unit within Oracle. There are several business units. So when you want to have a session on hospitality or the retail industry, oil and gas, whether it's food and beverages, we've got several other industries as well. And within those oil industries, you'll find blockchain, you'll find point of systems, you'll find the security. So we can have several sessions if the audience are interested in specific areas. Oracle cover most of them.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Patrick, final word from you. I mean, you've actually done an amazing presentation, a sterling one. It seems you know the software inside out. Maybe a few words on support, especially when people are buying the software. How do we get the support to ensure that we can empower the team?
Thank you for that. So we have, we follow the SUN principle. So you'll have support 24 hours, 24/7, 365. And if you allow me for 1 second, I can show some of the things that were asked. One second, if I share my screen.
Please go for it. Yeah, we've got time. No worries.
So there was a question about cost. So I just want to show quickly, we cover cost. So what you see there is a cost management solution. We can cover contracts as well. So anything that is, is attached to a contract. So you've got your documents, you've got your mail, you've got your model coordination and cost. There was also an issue of risk management, which is also a very interesting topic, especially in this time. So you can see here, we can cover also risk. We can also cover the risk register very quickly. And more importantly, what this tells you is that if any of these risks attached to this project actually materialize, then your ability to finish the project on time is 23%. You're supposed to finish on the 6th of June, but you're more likely to finish on the 13th. So these things, we have them. It's just about having the right conversations.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it from me and Neil.
Okay. So if you can stop share. Just before we, I want to just got one final question for the audience before we conclude. So I want to share this with everybody then the final word of wisdom from everybody. So I want to just share that with now is, and this goes to the participant now. And here we go. How many of you will be keen to give Oracle Aconex Common Data Environment CDE a go? So we'd love to find out after 2 hours of presentation. We'd love to have your thoughts, and thank you to Varna, Patrick, and Linda. So we'd love to have you. Be truthful, be honest. I'm gonna have a go myself. I've been amazed by the presentation today. So how many of you will be keen to give Oracle Aconex Common Data Environment a go? So again, I think it's important as an industry, especially during COVID-19, we talk about social distancing and remote working and mixed working, office and work, but also more important about increasing collaboration between client, design team, and contractors. So 65% of you have already voted. So please put the vote in before we. So 66%. You've got about 10 seconds to conclude. So I'm just going to end polling now and share the result with all of you. Wow. So 97% is saying yes, they will have a go. The 3% is yet to be convinced. So we will be doing another webinar for the 3% to be convinced. So, yeah, already, and I want to have the thoughts of the panelists today. So, Varna, what was your thought today about 97%, which is 100+ people today saying yes?
I think that's great news, but what is certain in our future is that the challenges with project and construction management is going to be more emphasized, and I think digital transformation is no longer something that is for other people to do. It is truly something that the construction industry needs to get on board with very quickly to be able to survive in our normal that is now social distancing.
Yeah. Linda, again, what's your thought about 90% saying yes, they want to give it a go? What's your thought on that, and what's the word of encouragement would you like to give to the participant?
Yeah, well, that's great news for me. I mean, one of the questions was asked how many customers, but then I found out 77% didn't even know about Aconex exists. So please follow us on LinkedIn. I actually saw something on the LinkedIn, and the only thing I don't like about LinkedIn is when you find something great, you take a screenshot of it. It's difficult to find it again. But it basically said that it's a lot of businesses are forced to transform because of COVID. And the sooner we get technology to help us to transform, we can create a new reality, a new reality. So I definitely believe the way forward is the information technology, getting on board with this. It's a new generation, it's new tools, making it so much easier. It's not about the cost, it's about the value and how much saving of time is happening in each organization. You can get the job done, but can you get it done within time and budget? And what if something goes wrong?
Yeah. Patrick, again, I've got one more question for you, which is a very common question, but I'll ask Patrick. Patrick, what's your view on 97% want to use your software now?
That's a good response, and I just want to tell them that the system is very easy to use. I think part of the problem we've had in the past is people want to use technology, but it's difficult to use. So what Oracle has done very well is to make systems that are very easy to use. You know, you don't need, for instance, when you're using a mobile device, you don't need any form of training to actually do that. You can just go and click and upload the issues or even do daily inspection. So I'm very encouraged.
Okay. Finally, before we move on, Varna, just quick one in terms of collaboration between, because we do have a lot of dispute in the industry, unfortunately. How Aconex is bringing the team together? So I'll start with one on that one in terms of contractors, client, and design team.
Yeah, no, it's quite a known fact that contractors go in with a low profit margin and then want to put a lot of changes in place to increase their profitability. I think what's important for project owners and project managers is to have access to information. And for many long time, project owners normally relied on their project managers or the EPCM companies to manage projects, and as a result, they didn't have access to all the information. But if you have access to information and full traceability as to what happened when, who did what, contractual changes become very, very easy to process. Now, I'm not saying contractors should not get changes approved.
Yeah.
All I'm advocating is that change management is based on real information. And if that real information is available, then the correct decisions can be made around contract changes.
Okay. Lindo, about you?
Yeah, any system should be in such a way that it should literally take you 3 clicks to get you what you need. And that if you can't get it, I mean, if you put something in a file and that person leaves and they take that file with them, you've lost all that intellectual property and knowledge. With this, when you store it in the cloud, it's there and it's a metadata system. So if you file it correctly, you don't need anybody to help you to find it.
Yeah, thank you. And Patrick?
Yeah, I think it's time for innovation. Time is to start now trying new tools. And you can see that we've got simple tools to use that are at the same time effective.
Okay, so we've got one final question, and this is coming from our project manager who is managing us all behind. So I'm just going to share this with you, and I managed to do it quite quickly. So to all of you, and I'm just going to launch that now. Would you like another webinar from Oracle? I think I've really enjoyed. We've all got to 2 hours and 15 minutes. And I think we've got to learn more from you guys. So I think this is just the start of something special. I've really enjoyed it. So we've got about 25 seconds left to know if would you like another webinar from Oracle to really get to know the nitty-gritty of it as we progress as an industry. So please, please, please put your vote in, and I'll give you about 15 seconds before we conclude. So yeah, so please. 62% of you have voted, and I'm just going to end polling now, and here we go. So I'll share the result, and already 97% again is looking for another webinar. So thank you very much indeed. And again, so let me just now share. Please stay where you are, and I'm just going to connect with the final conclusion on the slide. So just stay where you are, gentlemen. And I'm just gonna, so you can see my slide, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Awesome. So we've done that. So yeah, take care, be safe. Thank you very much indeed, everybody. It's been a pleasure having you. We've already on 2 hours and 4. And so yeah, I mean, Varna, anything planned now for the future in terms of the audience seems to have really enjoyed it. Any final thought from you before we conclude and say goodbye to everybody?
Yeah, I think Oracle is supporting the industry. It's supporting construction industry and engineering industry. We are here to help. If you want to reach out to any of us, do so. I've repeatedly added email addresses into the question and answer section, but you can also find us on LinkedIn. We normally share useful information around BIM and project controls. And thank you very much for attending. We are really honored that 162 people stayed on for over 2 hours to share our passion for BIM and project controls. Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you. Linda, final words before we conclude, please.
I cannot say thank you enough for all the audience and for Neil for arranging this. As Vanna just said, follow us on LinkedIn. It's our passion. It's what we like to do. We like to share. We like to give back. We're there to help as well. The only thing I would have changed if you asked me about today is I said I would have probably invited the customer, and rightfully so. Another customer in Mauritius texted me on this call saying, you forgot about us. You didn't even mention us. I'm not going to mention the second customer, but next time I'll invite a customer so you can hear it straight from the customer as well.
Okay, and Patrick, final word from you, mate.
Yeah, I'm happy to show our solutions. So if there's a plan to have this education series in the near future, I'm happy to do that.
Okay, so thank you very much indeed. We've reached the end of a 2 hours and 15 minutes CPD talk. Please please email me for your certificate of attendance, which will be anil@cpdtalk.com. So please email me, and please send us your feedback as well. When you're emailing me for your certificate, you can send your feedback on WhatsApp and on email, and I'll forward up to the speakers as well. So thank you very much indeed, and probably everybody, a big wave to everyone. A big wave to everyone. And also I would like to thank Debs Whitaker. You will find her on LinkedIn. She's the mastermind behind this. So we would like to thank a big thank you to Debs Whitaker to have organized the logo, to organize everything. So everybody, maybe a thank you to Debs, maybe starting from Wanda.
Yeah, it's always important for us to have the support people that think about things that we forget. And that's why we work with Coolcampo on a regular basis as part of our marketing team. Thank you.
Okay, all right, guys. So thank you. Take care. Have a good evening, and see you soon. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you, Neil.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.